obviously, and we should be considering this when we're thinking about what type of energy we should be using in our own homes and what businesses should be using in their companies. There's also resource conservation. So as we know, there are renewable and non-renewable sources, and we should be striving to use renewable sources so that it's more sustainable in the long run, and we'll be able to use it more and more, and it won't get depleted. There's also energy cost, stability, and energy independence and security. So there's no need to depend on external sources to find their energy sources, and they can depend on their own solar panels or wind farms or whatever type of renewable energy they choose to have. But there are a lot of things that can hinder businesses from doing this, and one thing is the high initial investment, but they can seek financial incentives and subsidies from the government to do this because these are regulations that are needed. Like, we need renewable energy to be there in businesses. There's also performance risks. Businesses believe that their renewable energy sources won't work properly, or they just won't work well enough. So one solution to this is they can have demonstration projects where they have little tiny projects where they just test out these renewable sources and see if they're working out. And another thing is they might be worried about them needing more energy than these renewable sources can provide. But what they can do is take energy efficiency measures and not use as much energy as they were before, and just cut down on their energy uses. You shape the decisions today, ensuring a prosperous legacy for generations ahead. Because if it's not us, when? And if not now, when? And this is by all of us, Gen Z, and this is asking our business leaders to include us in their decision making and include us in what their practices are. Thank you so much. When businesses are very transparent and open about what their practices are and what type of things they're doing in regards to sustainability or not being sustainable, just so we know what type of products are sustainable and where we can and cannot buy from. Around 20% of the workforce in the future. So there's many ways that we have purchasing power and financial power. We are 72% more likely to shop from a brand we follow on Instagram, so that just shows that social media is a good way to get Gen Z hooked. And also 58% of Gen Z prefer to have their purchases and products being eco-friendly, so that also shows that this helps with profits. There's many ways that you can attract Gen Z as a business owner, and if you're trying to market yourself to Gen Z and the younger generation. We make up, like I said, 20-30% of the workforce, and we value what companies stand for and not just what their products are. So that's why it's important to be transparent and open about sustainable practices. And organizations need to be authentic and transparent because that's something that us as Gen Z people really, really value. We can shape tomorrow's world today, and we need to start now to do this. In less than a decade, we will be the largest part of this workforce, and we really need decision-making power to make things happen. There's many ways that we can involve Gen Z in corporate sustainability, because that's one thing that businesses might be concerned about. How do we even involve Gen Z or younger people in sustainability in a higher level operation? One way is through education and awareness. So in schools, we're not taught about sustainability. We know that climate change exists, but we're not really taught why it's an important issue or why we need to care about this. So if we integrate these into schools and we spread more awareness about this issue, then Gen Z will be more likely to take a step up. Another way is through sustainability-focused internships. We can have companies like sustainability managers can have internships focused on educating Gen Z about sustainability and having them work in these sustainable positions. and they'll get more experience and they'll be able to make more educated decisions. I have shadow boards, which is basically when companies have board meetings for sustainability. Gen Z can be a part of these board meetings and shadow the people who are working there already, and they'll be able to understand how business actually works, how sustainability is integrated in their company, and things like that. And they'll also be able to make a couple of decisions in that area. So we will have more decision-making power that way. Another way is through social media campaigns. Like I mentioned, social media is one of the biggest ways to get Gen Z's attention, which is why social media campaigns would be a really, really great idea to, we can leverage the power of social media to spread awareness about sustainability efforts and encourage Gen Z to be part of this movement. And finally, we can have college campus sustainability workshops. A lot of Gen Z is in college right now, which is why that's a great way to go and find them and market this towards them. There can be interactive workshops on these college campuses on sustainable practices, and this will do us Gen Z to make ourselves part of this. One way is through our consumer choices. We hold a lot of purchasing power as a generation, and our choices that we make as consumers are very, very important. If we only choose to buy from sustainable businesses, then only those businesses will flourish and other businesses will be incorporating more sustainability into their practices, just because that's what more people prefer. So we hold a lot of that choice and we need to use that to our advantage. Another way is through employment choices, choosing where to work. If we all choose to work in sustainability-oriented businesses or places that offer sustainability initiatives or programs, things like that, then again, other businesses will follow that lead. Finally, there's advocacy and activism. I founded EcoTeens, which is the nonprofit, and through that we do advocacy and we do a lot of activism, and I think it's important for a lot of other Gen Z people to follow suit, because without that, there's no way that there's ever going to be a change that will actually be sufficient enough to solve this problem. So